All right, everyone, it's time to talk about the El Paso lie because we got some significant gaslighting going on right now. Or yesterday was more prevalent, and then all of a sudden, not so much. Like as soon as it was exposed that it was bullshit, the Democrats kind of went silent on it. See, what happened is this. I think that the mollusk media might have been fooled. See, the El Paso Fire Department supposedly called in the media, and their cat's playing around over there, so expect a lot of noise in this video. It's not my normal recording location. Called in, supposedly the fire department's representative, saying, well, Beto had like 10,000 people at his rally. Trump only had like 6,500. Yes, Beto won. That's bullshit. We can prove it's bullshit because, look, we can calculate the number of people at the Trump rally pretty accurately. It was about 10,000, not 6,500. That's an underestimation based on the number of Coliseum seats. That doesn't count overflow, 2,000 or 3,000 more people. It doesn't count people on the floor of the Coliseum. Again, 1,000, maybe 1,500. Number two, at Beto's rally, we have footage from Beto's own page that his people took from the stage of the crowd. If you're trying to tell me that he had 10,000 people there, I think you're nuts. And this is at peak. They recorded it when the crowd was at its peak, while Beto was first speaking. Not like, oh, half an hour before, nobody had shown up and there's only 1,200 people. It would be generous to give 1,500 as the estimate of people at Beto's rally. Then there's the competing web presence. Remember, politics increasingly takes place in the communications era, not in person, but in an electronic format. Over 100,000 people watching Trump, a few thousand watching Beto, and that's, again, at peak, 4,000 or 5,000 people. For over 100, I think 110,000 for Donald Trump's stream, and that's just one stream. Remember, Trump was being streamed on a dozen different platforms at the same time. There was only like 1 or 2 streams of Beto. Nobody gave a fuck. You know why? Because building the wall is a popular idea, but the media doesn't want you to know that. They want to continue casting anything that's negative towards Trump, they'll seize on, and so they got bamboozled because I think what happened. I don't think it was the El Paso Fire Department. I think it was one firefighter, or maybe someone who's not even part of that department, who certainly wasn't authorized to speak because they clearly lied. I think that some random person, yeah, I'm the fire chief. By the way, Beto's rally was huge. And then supposedly the police department opined and had a totally different number, by the way. You know what happened? Somebody crank-called these people and got them to seize on the story, and then they tried to bury it. See, the gaslighting is, as soon as it was shown, hey, this story is dubious, it's wrong, they buried it. They stopped talking about it completely. I have no doubt that a mass email went out to all of these mollusk media firms. Cease and desist. No, withdraw from the battlefield. We're going to get fucked. And so now they don't want to talk about it. Now it's not trending anymore because the helpful, jolly enjoy of all of the pundits from the mollusk media no longer talking about it. Whoops, though, we live in the internet era. See, I can go on the internet, Google these rallies, and I can see the crowds for myself. I can see third-party footage. I can see the official footage. I can hear it. I can see it. I can listen to it on a mobile. I can do anything. Fucking, I can go out and get footage myself if I want to. See, and that's why the mollusk media keeps going after independent journalists that actually do on-the-ground stuff. Like, why do you think it's InfoWars and Loomer and Gavin and people like that that get struck down first? Because they're undercutting the legacy media the hardest. Because they're the ones that are breaking stories with their own footage. And they're starting stories by doing journalistic activism and actual investigative journalism. That's why they're the first to be targeted. People like myself who analyze, we're on a different sort of wavelength. If I were to take a device, if I were to hire 2 or 3 people, say, okay, we're Styx, Hex, and Hammer Inc. now, and I were to say, well, I'm going to go to New York City and we're going to start breaking the news ourselves all over Manhattan and Brooklyn and stuff. I'm going to have 5 or 6 staff to help me do it. We're going to have the little office. We're going to have the accountant and the lawyer, and I'm going to hire a couple of journalists and assistants, and we're going to go out and break the news. How long do you think it'd be before I got deplatformed for something? Probably a few months. That's the name of the game. It's a corporate monopoly, really. But no, as far as El Paso goes, it is definite. There is an objective chance that Trump had more people. Again, 6,500 people in the seats at the Coliseum. It's a true number. 1,000 to 1,500, I would estimate, on the floor of the Coliseum in front of his podium. So you're looking at 7,500, 8,000 people inside. You're looking at least 2,000 in overflow, probably 3 or 4. You're looking at 10 to 12,000 people at his rally. Based on the footage from Beto's own fucking Twitter page, looking out at the crowd of people. It pans around, it shows you the whole crowd. 1,200 would be what I would expect, maybe a little less or more. 1,500 would be a stretch in being generous. Yeah, there's 10,000 at Beto's rally. No, there's not. And people who like it, like liberals, were sharing it out. They were sharing out his official footage, saying, well, 10,000 people showed up. Haha, Drumpf blown the heck out. That's not what the footage shows. If you think that's 10,000 people, go to an optometrist as quickly as possible. I think that you're beginning to develop some sort of terrible vision problems. You're fucking hallucinating. You're not just seeing double, you're seeing like, what, pentuple or something at that point. Oh my God, people are so ignorant. They actually think that that kind of gaslighting, it's Stalin-esque, really, when you think about it. It's an attempt to mindfuck people despite the fact that you have an objective reality you can see and tangibly hear. Like you can objectively tell that Beto's rally was smaller. And then they'll say anyone who brings it up, the day after, says, well, that's just, you're splitting hairs. There's a plane going over, by the way. You're splitting hairs. It doesn't matter. Ha, ha, ha. You're trying to defend, Trump because you're a racist or something. It's like, no, it's like reality is the highest law. You need to understand reality. You can't make informed political decisions regardless unless you know what the fuck's going on. That's why the legacy media is so dangerous. It's why independent journalism is so important. It's why the alt media is so great. It's not just, oh, hey, it's entertaining to make a YouTube video. No, you have the chance to change people's minds lickety-split. They're terrified about the instantaneous news cycle. A pundit doesn't have any extra power on Twitter as some regular person doesn't have until Jack Dorsey comes along and fucking censors and suppresses everything. By the way, Dorsey coming out saying, we're not going to be a neutral platform anymore. Yes, there's a reason why we ban mainly people who lean right. Yeah, because you've got a political persuasion, of course. That's fine. At least you finally admitted it. Like a lot of these Silicon Valley people pretend that they're unbiased. It's like, hey, he's the honest one in the room. He's still a dubious individual. He should still go, fuck himself, basically. But at least he's being honest about the fact that he's a dishonest, disingenuous fucking hack that's managing his corporation into the ground. That's a good thing. So no, at El Paso, Trump wins. 10,000 plus people in the crowd. Beto loses. 1,200 is 1,500 being generous. I'll say 2,000. Okay, so he pulled in 1/5. All right, and he had a mariachi band, which was like meme worthy, and it was like really cringy. Hey, have you ever noticed how Beto O'Rourke, whose real name isn't even Beto, have you ever noticed that when he speaks, he's like this? He looks like a B-grade televangelist. He acts the same way, like he gyrates on holy, holy. It's like he could make so much more money if he just said, okay, I'm an evangelical now. Fuck politics. Hey, I'm starting a mega church. Take some of your corporate money, some of your campaign money from your big donors, and build a mega church, and you can do your holy, holy shtick, and you can have 5,000, 6,000. You can have crowds way bigger than that every Sunday. And you can tell them all sorts of wonderful things and ask for $19.99 for salvation or some bullshit. Start a salvation racket. Little Fallout reference there. That's about all. Peace out.